Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to join you by means of this video message in addressing the Better Air Quality Conference and to hopefully draw out some of the linkages between the core issues that you will address at your conference on better air quality and its linkages to climate change, to human health, and indeed to the broader topic of the transition towards a green economy. Your conference coincides with the Conference of the Parties of the Climate Change Convention meeting in Doha. And in that sense, let me begin by saying that when we address the issues of better air quality, we not only have the opportunity to address this in the traditional better air quality legislation frameworks, but also from the point of view of linking issues that relate to climate change, to human health and development benefits in a way that perhaps in the past we have not succeeded in doing so. Not only do we produce win-win options, but we also try and connect the resources, the legislative instruments, and also the public attention and the private sector in forging an alliance that will allow us to address multiple benefits with actions that are better coordinated. In the context of better air quality, the attention that we in UNEP have drawn towards the short-lived climate pollutants is one such example. I would like to use my message today to briefly introduce to you the connections between better air quality and the short-lived climate pollutants such as black carbon or soot, methane, tropospheric ozone, and some of the hydrofluorocarbons. In the research by scientists over the last 10 years that UNEP has been facilitating, we have discovered, if you want, the fact that a fast-tracked action on reducing these short-lived climate pollutants in our atmosphere will not only produce climate benefits in the sense that we will actually be able to reduce the drivers of global warming in the short term, we will also address human health issues and above all address the development agenda of many developing countries. The potential for action on short-lived climate pollutants ranges from the energy sector to the agriculture sector to the way that we capture methane in the landfills around the world, and also how we will address, perhaps in the future through the context of the Montreal Protocol, also the contribution that hydrofluorocarbons make not only to depleting the ozone layer, but indeed to actually addressing climate change drivers. In February 2012, UNEP, together with a number of member states in the United Nations, convened a meeting that led to the establishment of the Climate and Clean Air Coalition. It is one of the fastest growing initiatives in terms of providing complementary actions to address climate change, and particularly to focus on the issue of black carbon and soot, on methane and on tropospheric ozone in due course, and if negotiations permit, also to address the issue of hydrofluorocarbons in due course. The coalition is a voluntary commitment by countries, but also by international organizations, civil society organizations and business communities to work towards a phasing down or phasing out of these substances in our atmosphere. Just 8 months after launching the coalition, it already has 38 members, 20 of whom are member states of the United Nations, who have committed to work on a number of different areas where fast-track action is possible. To make the linkage between better air quality, human health, but also the links to climate change and, for example, agricultural production, where the reduction of tropospheric ozone would allow us to avoid crop losses of up to 30 million tons a year, is an excellent example of how the concept of a transition towards a green economy provides a broader framework within which we can address multiple objectives, but also how actions in one domain can be linked to objectives and initiatives in other domains. I hope that at your conference you will be able to take this analogy between actions in individual domains that address better air quality and be able to leverage the broader benefits that we might achieve in the climate change domain, or indeed in human health aspects, or in the agricultural production sector, and bring them together in terms of policy recommendations that will make it easier for governments to address these in terms of practical implementation programs. Clearly, we have many environmental and human health challenges that relate to this subject, and action in many cases can indeed be taken by nations individually and within the context of their national legislation. However, the benefits and also the ability of individual countries to have an impact on better air quality often is predicated on a transboundary concept of cooperation. It is my hope that in the Better Air Quality Conference you will be able to provide both examples and directions for how this discussion can evolve in the coming years. We in the United Nations Environment Programme are keen observers of this discussion, contributors in terms of science and above all in terms of policy options that will make it easier for governments, the private sector, but also citizens to benefit from these kinds of initiatives. Thank you once again for allowing me to address you by means of this video message, and I wish you a very successful conference and we look forward to working with many of you in the coming months and years in actually implementing actions on the ground. That was the message from Rio. It is time for implementation while we still gather the perfect knowledge of science and also the perfect policy instruments. It is only by implementing gradually and incrementally that we can develop a far more fine-tuned set of laws, incentives, and also signals in our economies to address these issues. Thank you.